Hola, mi pequeño compadres. So, Barack Obama wrote a book called A Promised Land in the first chapter where he talks about how his favorite part of the White House was the West Colonnade. It was a 1 minute long walk from home to the office. He says that was the place where he would gather his thoughts and he loved it the most out of every other place in the White House. As I'm guessing that that's where it doesn't get bothered the most. The West Wing of the White House was constructed by President Teddy Roosevelt in 1902 because he had six goddamn kids, and he felt that one single building couldn't accommodate for his staff or his children or for his sanity. So he had it built for those reasons. Obama says that he is a slow walker, and his wife Michelle calls it the Hawaiian walk. He says while walking through the West Colonnade, sometimes the guards would be holding back a flock of visitors, and if he had time, he would shake hands with them, but usually he would just turn left and went straight to the Oval Office to handle business, where he greeted his personal staff. He speaks of an elderly black man named Ed Thomas that worked for the White House for 40 years as a groundskeeper, normally dressed in a green khaki uniform, working in the Rose Garden, in which Obama would compliment Ed and his team on the plants that they have planted. And this nigga would even ask about the damage that had been done to the garden from the storm that happened the night before. This is a good fucking guy. 'Cause I'm like, man, look, if I was the president, bro, I got a billion things to do every day. I can't stop to tell you, nigga, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like, I can't. Man, hey, look, I'll be like, look, I don't give a damn about these plants. You know what I'm saying? There's wars going on, people dying out here, and he's over here asking about what damage happened to the plants the night before. Like what? But anyway, I guess Ed Thomas was very serious about his plants. His daughter's names are Malia and Sasha, and they have two dogs named Bo and Sunny. His grandmother's nickname was Toot, and his grandfather was a life insurance salesman. His grandparents lived in Oklahoma, Texas, and Washington State. Then they had finally moved to, I'm going to butcher it, Oahu, Hawaii in 1960, which became the 50th state of the United States just the year before in 1959, August 21st. His mother's name is Ann Dunham. She was the only child of Obama's grandparents. She and Obama's family call Obama Barry, or Bear for short. Obama has a younger sister named Maya. And just in case you guys didn't know, Barack Obama's mother is a white woman. And I don't mean half white. I don't mean those type of white girls that wear Jordans. I'm talking about she's literally a white woman. And Obama's dad was a black man from Africa and Kenya. And he also worked for the Kenyan government. And also, Obama says he didn't know his father and he only heard of him through occasional letter being sent in the mail. But when Obama turned 10 years old, his father traveled from Kenya to stay with them for a month in Honolulu, Hawaii. Obama's mother was married twice and she divorced both of them niggas. And she moved to Indonesia in Southeast Asia to live with Obama's stepfather when Obama was about 12 years old. Southeast Asia is where Obama's mother would spend most of her life absorbing the language and the culture there. He says she pretty much did damn well whatever she pleased. Obama went to, I might butcher this, Paneho, which was the top prep and private school in Honolulu, Hawaii, in which had grades from kindergarten to 12th grade while living with his grandparents. He says when he was young, he was a part of a group that teased some kids in school, and when he got home, his mother sat him down and asked, what kind of person do you want to be? So I'm guessing there was a little bit of self-reflection there, because he still remembers it. He says that he was a passionate basketball player with limited talent, but I seen him play on YouTube and he's actually alright. And he was a dedicated partier. And in his teenage years throughout high school, him and his friends didn't discuss much beyond sports, girls, music, and plans for getting loaded. He has three best friends who still remain some of his closest friends to this day, named Bobby Titcomb, Greg Gourmet, and Mike Ramos. He says that they never would have thought that he would have become the president of the United States. He says that in school, a lot of the questions that he was asked was centered around race, in which I will detail in the following, and I quote, why did blacks play professional basketball but not coach it? What did that girl mean from school when she said she didn't think of me as black? Why were all the black men in action movies, switchblade wielding lunatics, except for maybe the one decent black guy, the sidekick, who always seemed to end up getting killed. Unquote. He says something about his mother, and which reminds me of my mother, that still makes me mad to this day. But he says, and I quote, despite whatever my mother might claim, the bullies, cheats, and self-promoters seem to be doing quite well, while those who she considers good and decent people seem to get screwed an awful lot. Unquote. He says he was from everywhere and nowhere all at once, and he was unsure of where he belonged, but also says that he did find refuge in books, and in the habit of reading was because of his mother, because when he would get bored and have nothing to do, she would say, and I quote, go read a book, then come back and tell me something you learned. While living with his grandparents, him and his grandpa went to a church that was having a rummage sale while he was in the 10th grade, and he got a bin of hardcover books in which consist of titles by Ralph Ellison, Langston Hughes, Robert Penn Warren, Dostoevsky, D.H. Lawrence, and Ralph Waldo Emerson. He says that he read all of those books sometimes after basketball practice and sometimes after having a six-pack with his friends or his buddies. He would read his books in his granddad's old Ford Granada, and he went to other rummage sales looking for more. But he also says that his intellectualism proved mostly worthless when it came to strategies for picking up women. And for you youngsters out there, you know most women don't really like smart guys because the relationship is basically about you getting outsmarted by her. And if you're smart, you'll catch on too fast and the whole plan's fucked. That's just worst case scenario, but we must continue. And Obama says that he was in a series of affectionate, but I might butcher this too, chastity relationships. And I had to look up what the fuck that meant. And that basically means you ain't getting no kitty cat. And these chicks were basically religious, celibate, and supposedly moral and ethical. Obama says that he didn't believe in politics, but the 2 years that he spent in Occidental, whatever the hell that is, gave him a quote-unquote political awakening, as if the people in politics were actors in a rigged game, and he decided he wanted no part of it. He says he was inspired by leaders of the civil rights movements like Martin Luther King, John Lewis, Bob Moses, Fannie Lou Hamer, and Diane Nash, saying that they would go door to door to register voters. And that is about half of the first chapter. Peace.